Hi, everyone, all the distinguished guests online and all the participants. I'm Ching-Yi. I'm the Dean of the Office of International Affairs of National University of Kaohsiung. This is our final week for the Asia Virtual Academy lecture series. So today we are going to have this closing ceremony, and then we proudly bring you the former legislator, the Ambassador at Large, Dr. Ching-Yi for the final speech. So before we proceed to the closing ceremony, I would like to have this distinguished guest introduction. Okay, so first I would like to introduce you the Vice President of Nongnan University, Professor Untitled Chapter. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, thank you very much. I appreciate for your support. And also we have the Dean of the Office of Dean T. Thank you. And also our distinguished guest, Dr. Chen. Yeah, thank you very much for all your participation and also. And then I'd like to introduce you, Dr. Alma Malini. She's also our speaker from Tanjung Pulau University, Indonesia. Hi. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you for your support. And then we also like to introduce you our guest from Bicol University. Is a Professor Banayas.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we miss you. Thank you very much. And then I would like to introduce you the Vice President of our National University of Kaohsiung, Professor Kaohsiung. He's also online. He's also the first week speakers.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Hi, thank you very much for coming. And then I'd like to also introduce the special guest today from the National Council of Sustainable Development, Professor Chen. Chen Zhiwei. Professor Chen Zhiwei, are you online?
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi, for your comment. Yeah, and then our distinguished speakers, Dr. Ching-Yi. She is the former legislator of Taiwan and currently the ambassador at large. Thank you for your comment, and we look forward for your speech.
Thank you, everyone. So nice to meet everyone online.
Okay, thank you very much for all your comments. So maybe from Nongnan University, our Vice President, Dr. Chuan, would you like to give us a little bit welcome message and maybe the feedbacks for the whole event? Hello, from Nongnan University, Vice President Chuan, do you want to give us some welcome message?
Hello. Welcome.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, actually, on behalf of Nongnan University, I'd like to thank you for your invitation us to join this event. It's very significant to everybody here. Yes. So all the time we emphasize that we would like to make the good collaboration from your university and our Nongnan University for comprehensive collaboration. So one more time, thank you very much, and hopefully we have a fruitful event today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope to see you. Thank you very much. And then, okay. Also from the our friend Dr. Helma Manini from Tanjung Pulau University. Would you like to give us some welcome message before the closing ceremony? Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dean Wu. So it has been our great pleasure cooperating and conducting this event of Asia Virtual Academy with National University of Kaohsiung. So our student, in the name of our student, we are so thankful. I have been asked them one or two questions. How is your experience? So they are gaining a lot of knowledge. So in the future, we hope that this event will become more sustainability, not only happening this year. We hope that this event going to be continue in the next year and then in the next year. And then I want to thanking also our fellow friends from Vietnam, from Philippines in conducting this event also. And then thank you so much for Din Woo personally, because although Din Woo is embarking a new management at the International Affairs Office of NUK, it has been a great cooperation since we have been conducting several cooperation and activities. It has been a fruitful journey with International Affairs Office of National University of Kaohsiung. Thank you, Din Woo.
Dr. Helmas, I appreciate for your long-standing support, and I hope this will be sustainable for the whole event. And then I would like to ask the Professor Panayas on behalf of Bicol University. Would you like to give us some feedback or welcome message? Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Please.
So, Dr. Dimson asked me to give a short message to everyone for this afternoon. And while I was preparing, I actually saw this quote online, and it said, "Individually, we are a drop, but together we are an ocean." So, I am very honored to be part of us becoming a whole ocean. It was really a great collaboration between other universities, other world-class universities of Asia. And for and in behalf of the Bicol University President and the International Relations Office Director, Dr. Dimson Rivera, and our President, Dr. Arnulfo M. Mascareñas, we really, really want to thank NUK for inviting us and for making us part of this overwhelming event. We had such a good time. We learned so much, and it was just a great time to collaborate with all the other universities. We thank you. Maraming salamat po from our language. Diyos mabalos, and we look forward to future collaborations with you. Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone.
Professor Panayas, you're also our good friends, and we think we will keep it in cooperation in the future. And then okay, okay. So next, I would like to introduce you our Vice President, Dr. Chen. He's also the first week speaker, and we also receive enormous feedbacks from the students online. So I think all of you were missing so much. And I apologize that our president, she has already will give you a closing ceremony speech on video clips, but Vice President Dr. Chen will, on behalf of National University of Kaohsiung and our President Chen, to give you a welcome and concluding remark. Okay, for Dr. Chen, Vice President Chen. Yeah, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I think on behalf of the university, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the pouring support of our assistants from our sister universities. This is an event that has been lasted for more than a month and attracts more than 10,000 students online, participating in the forum that covers various important topics like globalization, employment, environmental sustainability. I think it has created a model that for all of university around the globe to join together during the pandemics. And I'm so honored to be part of the program, and especially I'm the first leg of all the lectures. And I think this event has established a new connection between all sister universities, and I look forward to see deeper collaborations, across all universities. And in particular, I'd like to thank Ding Wu, who has spent so much time organizing this wonderful event. And I apologize for not being well prepared because, as you know, that the pandemic is, growing seriously in Taiwan. But I think we are confident we will prevail. But at the same time, I think I'd like to thank everyone once again, and I wish the best for the event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President. And last, I would like to invite Professor Chen. He is also currently the member of National Council of Sustainable Development, and he is also the Distinguished Research Fellow.
Hello, hi.
The International Relations Research Center at National University of Kaohsiung. So, Professor Chen, would you like to give us some remarks and welcome message, please? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Professor Wu and
I can hear you,
everyone. I think it's my huge honor to be here, and everyone can hear me. Sorry, my internet is poorly, but I have to point out. I think this program is quite meaningful because using the digital technology.
Okay, so probably just a little bit late. It's a bit disconnect. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for Professor. Maybe he's back online. Maybe. Oh, okay. He's trying to get in. Okay. So, okay. Thank you very much for. Yeah. Professor Chen, can you hear us? Oh, maybe he's on the move. It's quite busy now. Hello? Yeah. Hello? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, please.
Hello, hi. Sorry, I do apologize because my internet is poorly now. But I have to. Hello, can everyone can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, please. Yeah, I think it's a kind of the connection problem.
Yeah, I do apologize. My connection is poorly, but I try to say something to everyone. First, I really appreciate Professor Wu is inviting me to attend this such meaningful meeting. And in my opinion, I think using the digital technology to promoting SDG is quite important thing. And I very looking forward to hear and learn something from everyone. And I believe Dr. Lin will be given more detail about how after COVID-19. So thank you everyone again. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Chen. And next, Dr. Lin, would you like to give some words or a little bit welcome? Dr. Lin? Yeah. He's the distinguished speaker for today. You would like to say something to us?
No, I think we share the time later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for all of your participation. And I think it's about time for the guest introduction. So we will to the next stage. That will be addressed from our president. She has already the video clips. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all participants online. Welcome to the Asia Virtual Academy 2021 Spring Lecture Series. This is Principal Yue Duan speaking from National University of Kaohsiung. I'm delighted to meet Dean Dimson from Bicol University in Philippines, Dean Ching from Nongnam University in Vietnam, Dr. Helmer from Tanjung Blanc University in Indonesia, and Dean Zhang from Office of International Affairs of National Zhongxin University. You all are very welcome to join us online. I'm also honored to bring you the keynote speaker of today's lecture, the Ambassador at Large, Dr. Ching-Yi, drawing from the bitter lesson of SARS Taiwan was able to control the pandemic of COVID-19 well in the early stage of the outbreak. I'm sure Dr. Ching-Yi will give you the details and the insightful comments about how the government and the citizens of Taiwan work together close to fight COVID-19 pandemic. National University of Kaohsiung is committed to incorporating the UN SDGs into the curriculum planning, campus design, and the university governments in various aspects since 2015. This is the reason why we are here today, to share ideas and the inspiration to work toward our common goals in the global community. With that, I would like to applaud Dean Wei and the International Office for their efforts in organizing the Asia Virtual Academy, which not only provides a platform for knowledge dissemination, but also connects higher education institutions in Taiwan and Southeast Asia in a safe and official way during the difficult times. Over thousands of students enroll in the program, and the enormous positive feedbacks from the participants have been received. I hope we can maintain this momentum and continue operating the Asia Virtual Academy as a way of sustaining academic mobility and facilitating the dissemination of knowledge from Asia perspectives. I also look forward to bringing together more global partners and sharing the exciting journey with you in the future. Once again, I would like to thank you all for supporting us and make the 2021 Asia Virtual Academy a resounding success. Wish to see you all in the near future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the address of our President Chen. And then because today is a closing ceremony, and so we are probably have a special arrangement for live performance. But because of the epidemic, so it will be pre-recorded. We invite two artists from southern Taiwan, famous performers, Mr. Wang Yulin. He's the Tainan Symphony violinist, and Oh Pei Li. She's from Kaohsiung Symphony and Orchestra violinist. So they will give us, I think like 4 songs, but at this period we will have 2 songs. The first one is the song "A Seaside Town" from the movie of Kiki's Delivery Service, and the second song is "Canon." It's also a famous song. It's very beautiful songs, and I hope that we could be relaxed and be relieved during these difficult times for all of us. Okay, so please, for the music. Okay. So thanks for the beautiful melody performed by Mr. Wang and Miss Oh. I hope that the power of the music could heal our souls, especially during these difficult times. Okay, so yeah, once again, I would like to introduce you just the online. This is Dean Jialin Chang. It's also National Chongqing University. Hi, Dr. Chang. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Yeah.
Hi.
This is
Would you like to
Jialin
give us some welcome message? Because yeah, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. It's my pleasure to share to see you over you and the nice music at the beginning of the ending conference. So I wish you the safe and the well, especially in the difficult times for COVID-19 this year. So let's we work together and continue to create the better life to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Dean Chang. Okay, so I think it's about time for the closing ceremony. Would you? So I think we will have a group photo for this beautiful memory. So please have your the most beautiful and handsome positions. Okay, for only 3 seconds. Okay. Okay. Take off the mask. Or maybe I can take off the mask a little bit. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. That is the success for the closing ceremony. So it's about time, so we will proceed to the lectures. So I would like to invite Dr. Li Ching-Yi for the topic of the challenges and opportunities for the pandemic. Okay, so Dr. Lin, please, for begin your lectures.
Okay. Hear my voice?
Yes.
Đang mở mình tắt dùng á.
Dr. Lee, you have to turn on your microphone. Could you turn on your micro? Yeah, because we cannot hear you.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Okay, here. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Professor Wu, and for our good partners online. And it's my honor to have the speech in closing ceremony. So sad we could to join together because of the pandemic. I think this is the usual in the future that we are facing. So it's really, I think today the situation is really mean that is why we are facing the challenge and opportunity after pandemic. So later I will have some experience or some points to share to everyone. Thank you. Next, please. I think the pandemic is really challenge for every populations, but for some special populations, actually it may be much more hard, more severe. For example, in many of the countries, when the pandemic situations, the middle age or elder age populations, or especially children, or especially women, actually they are suffer from much more challenge during pandemic. The left picture, actually they are our cleaners in our in Taiwan's high-speed rail. During the early stage of pandemic, actually I really worry about if our old cleaner in hospital, cleaner in men's situation, men stations, the cleaners maybe in some public environment, if they could get the protections equipment. And it's so lucky that until now we have only less than 5 crosser infection situations in hospital, and we have not anyone get infections in our train stations or public environments. So in these situations, actually, the different challenge were in different populations or different jobs. Even men here, we could see the right side that had ever show the pictures that because we couldn't go to school or go to work, so everyone worked from home. So it meant some doctors or some professors, they need to have the online on the work. But during the work from home, maybe for some people that's much more easier because they do not crowded in the traffic situations. But for their families, actually they are facing different challenge. Next one, please. Next, please. Thank you. And in Taiwan, actually, we have not any lockdown in last year before. In recent 1 week, actually, we have a little not lockdown, but we announced to our population that prevent to crowded in public area. So you could see the pictures that is during Sunday noon in Taipei, the most important city of Taiwan. But during that time, you could see even no one there. Usually there's a crowded area, and in the right side, the picture show our MRT have so few people there. So in Taiwan, actually, in past 1 years, we try not to be locked down because lockdown will affect most populations, their life. Lockdown will especially the economic activities. But we know lockdown and quarantine are the key of controlling COVID-19 spread. So I think most the challenge for every country in past 1 year is how to balance between the control pandemic and how to maintain the normal life qualities. I think every countries are facing that. If you lock down and quarantine, that will control the pandemic situations. But if people come back to normal life, try to become normal life before vaccinations, the society or the populations will become more severe in infection situations. Next, please. So sometimes we could see that this pictures the dark line, the black line, actually the suicide populations in Japan last year. I know in Asia countries, for example, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan, actually these countries have a higher suicide rate. But the picture shows in very extreme, very high increasing the suicide in Japanese populations last year. That is many women, especially we mentioned that many women, especially some weakness populations women, their jobs or their employee actually changing by pandemic. Some we call the service, the buying store or the drinking store or the restaurant. Many of the weakness women or some women, they work in these kind of situations. Even sometimes in some countries, some special activities between people and people are locked down. So during that times, many women, especially weakness population women, mid-aged women, they will stop their job or their job will be canceled. During that time, they are facing much more difficult situations. They are facing that isolations and the lack of the income. Next, please. Next, please. Thank you. And here is the GDP. All countries are facing the balance, how to lock down to control pandemic. and how to balance their income, the GDP of countries. And of course, all we know, most of the countries, they have dropped the GDP in past year, and much more difficult maybe in the further 2 or 3 years, in my opinion. They are still facing very difficult situations because the industry or the companies are closing last year, and so many people, they are unemployed. During that situations this year, even next year, I don't think the world will become normal situations. That is a much huge challenge to every populations and a much huge challenge to all the countries in the world. Next, please. Of course, in that year, because Taiwan controlled the pandemic very, very early. I will share some experience later. Because very, very early, so you could see the corner in the left side. That is the lowest death rate because of pandemic and the high GDP in past year in Taiwan. So of course, last year, because of very fast management for control the pandemic, Taiwan actually until now we still have a few infection cases, but in recent 1 week we are also suffer and facing the new pandemic situations in some counties. Next. And the challenge is even in the childbearing and the domestic violence. Of course, this picture is not domestic violence. I just want to share, we have some very important meetings, but because of pandemic, all the countries, all the professors, it's difficult to fly to another places. So we try to make that online. But online meetings or work from home actually is different in different gender roles. For men and for women, we are facing different challenge. For example, the pictures that we have online conference to discuss about pandemic and the gender roles, and our participant professor actually should need to balance her job and the childbearings, and this situation may be much more high stress in women. And of course, as we understand, in the 311, the nuclear disaster in Japan, many women, they're facing much more severe domestic violence. So during that pandemic situations, many unemployed situations, many people actually they are suffer from economic income loss. If that will become much more severe in domestic violence in many families in the world. Next. And I want to have a little discuss about the traditional gender segregations and gender roles. For first, in Taiwan, actually we have around 300,000 foreign workers outside of Taiwan before pandemic. This is foreign workers. Most of them work in US, in China, in Japan, in Pacific area, and even some in the South and East Asia countries. The US actually is far away from Taiwan, so maybe sometimes they will come to Taiwan maybe once or twice per year. In pandemic, many of them try to come back to Taiwan because of severe pandemic situation in US. But some of their families are so nervous about the pandemic in outside of Taiwan, so they will ask their families that please do not back to Taiwan. Actually, that is so suffer for the workers outside because they actually have some panic in outside of Taiwan, especially the pandemic situations in other countries. But their families are so cool to say, please do not come back. If you get disease outside, sometimes we could to keep ourselves if you do not come back. I think it's really suffer and so situation for this is foreign workers. Others actually have so many Taiwanese work in mainland China, in Japan, and South and East Asia. In these countries actually so close with Taiwan, so most of the foreigners actually they come back to Taiwan, and between these two countries very often, maybe once or twice per month before. It makes them easier to balance their job and the families. But because of pandemic and lockdown policies, many of them are difficult to fly to so easy. So many of the Taiwanese foreign workers in China, they moving their job to Taiwan, or another is they stay there over 1 year without come back to Taiwan to visit their families. It really challenged the relations between the families, and many of them are sometimes they are facing another is maybe they need to close their company in China. That is another challenge for them about middle age. They need to find another job or have another company. Actually, that is much more difficult in these situations. And second is the family care and migrant workers. As we understand, many migrant workers come from East and South of Asia, and many Taiwan's family care actually depending so many migrant workers. In past 1 years, we actually in fact years, actually we are we prevent so many migrant workers. Until now, many countries we are difficult to have the people come from another countries. So actually that increase our stress for our people in our people in Taiwan. And I think we have new employment and participation models. Here's the participate models in Taiwan, just like that. We could try online to have the communication models. And another is that we have a new economic survey style. The new economic survey style, for example, the more and more companies have their surveys by different models, and that is fewer people go to store and they maybe buy the items from online. This is different models. Of course, very important challenge, so private relationship. In Taiwan, because we actually do not have much more local infection people, so we could detect where the infection original and which one have close relations or connected with another people. That actually is a challenge for private relationship, because some very private or even do not want to people know the relations they were show to others because of the infectious conditions. Of course, I think the quarantines and lockdown and the pandemic information is really stress for mental health and stress, especially some isolation situations where affect people's health and especially mental health. This is during pandemic, we are facing the new changing in traditional gender segregations, in traditional gender roles or family care roles. I think in next year or even 2 years further years, we are still need to facing the different models in relations, in employment and participations. Next one. Next, please. And the government management actually is another challenge for the different countries. For example, the left pictures is the government of Japan, the prime minister. The support rate decreased to 33%, and the support increasing to 57% during the pandemic. I think they are also suffer from different situations about the Olympics. And on the right side is the president and the prime minister of UK. Actually, the same situation that they get infection during pandemic, and they also are facing the economic stress in the future. I think that if affect will further years. Of course, next one. Of course, we are facing new leading style. The new Guardian the journal have the report about why our female leaders have more successful in managing the COVID-19 crisis. So sorry, man, today. And here we have so many females leaders and participant members today. I do not like to separate the leadership by genders, but we also sometimes maybe that is another information that maybe different the gender role will have different leader style, and this is female leaders. Actually, they do leading their countries have better control or better managing during crisis. Next one. Thank you. So the leadership maybe is another different challenge and give us more new opportunity in different gender roles. Sometimes because of the different the gender role or gender stereotype, female leaders could to prevent self-centered or too much conceit to leaders' mighty. There's another reverse image maybe come from Boris Johnson of UK or Trump's president. So the female leaders or the different leadership could to maintain the teamwork, not be interfered by traditional hero image. I think it's difficult because during pandemic, populations will need sometimes they need hero because the hero may make them have more confidence. But to maintain or to keep more long-term the management for pandemic, I think the different leadership, especially the teamwork and the good communications, not the hero image, maybe that will become much more important in further the leaders in pandemic situations. And of course, to trust the professional public health team, we could to make sure the equipment supply that is another very important during the pandemic. So the professional jobs or how the government to cooperate with a professional team, that is another very important opportunities in the future. If the government has a professional team, not only political issues, but also could provide every different professional teams, that will be a better management during government to facing different situations, not only pandemic, but also some crisis. Next one. And another is we need to face the role of international organizations and another information channel. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic is really most of the countries should to depend the information come from WHO. But in early of last year, most of the countries they are facing, they are aware about the WHO couldn't give the real information. Even the WHO have to lead reactions to pandemic. So that will be the new challenge and the new opportunity that every countries need not only depend on the international organizations, they need to depend outside of the international organizations, and how could to build different information channel. The different information channel between countries, between the professional teams, between just like today's the school to schools, that will become more safety when we are facing the challenge in the future. Next. Next. For example, here is the schedule of Taiwan. That is, you could see the first picture that actually is 2019 December 31. The 2019 December 21, Taiwan, we have alert to WHO about we find have a typical pneumonia in China. And we hope the WHO could aware about that. But until February, even March, WHO have not any actions to that. So in Taiwan, actually, at the same day, we check fever passenger before landing from Wuhan, China. And after 2 weeks, we list the SARS-CoV-2 as a notified infection disease. Because in Taiwan, when we notify the disease, that we could to manage by the rule and regulations have more speed reactions to pandemic. So this is I want to mention that different channels from informations, because in Taiwan we also use traditional Mandarin, and China use Mandarin. So we could have another informations not only come from WHO or some organizations, but every country to communicate another countries that will be important to everyone to keep safe or have alert more informations. Next, please. And very important is the transparency of information. It means that every time during the pandemic or some crisis, every government or every populations, we are facing fake informations or some fake informations or more informations. In Taiwan, since the second month of pandemic, we have daily journal reports, and our leaders of CECC have the journal report every afternoon to show the data and to announce the policy to all the populations of Taiwan. The transparency of information is the key point for society security in pandemic, because or during pandemic situations, how to make the government information more clear and without interfered by another fake news, that is very, very important. At the same time, it will decrease the panic of populations. Next. Here is the information in the website in Taiwan, the health and welfare ministries. That actually you could see every day's data, how many in cases, how many the disease, how many people they get infected, and how many people how their symptoms and sign, and the age populations. The pictures and the data is clear every day to populations. You to find any detail in there. That is important for we could transparency of information to make people much more understand. Of course, you could see here, maybe you see the right side upper image, the ring of pink ring. The pink means in these pictures means the infected cases come from outside of Taiwan, and the brown color means the original infections. Next one. Here is the situation of today. We have higher infections come from the local infection cases. So you could see the brown colors become much more high populations with the outside of infections. It gets infected outside. But all the information for our population, they could understand what happened here and how the situation and the control of the pandemic. Next. Here's the recent days. I think in today, we also have around 240 cases. Maybe we have the opportunity to control the pandemic within 1 to 3 weeks. I think it's possible. Next, please. And here's some information and policy pictures. The CECC will release all the informations by the government, by the the information channel, for example, the Line or WhatsApp. For example, the right side, the pictures come from Line of government. They will release the information or policy pictures from CECC every day. It's much more easier for people to spread normal and correct information and also to prevent fake news spreads. Next. And of course, we have another issues is to the opportunity and new industry mindset. In Taiwan, actually, not only in Taiwan, many countries, we are trying to build a new technology and AI import. For example, in Taiwan recently, every the store or every places, public places, when you go in, you need to write down or to input your information and or your name and your cell phones. It's for that if anyone get disease, we could trace anyone have the possibility to get disease. And another app is we try to install to your cell phones. It could give you alert about if you have the high opportunity to get infections by people that close with you in recent weeks. But we are also facing the opportunity and the challenge is the digital data collections and the private security balance. The government need to balance how to balance the digital data collections and the private security, especially in domestic countries. Also, the diplomatic relationship between countries to countries are also changing. We also appreciate so many countries have more cooperations with Taiwan, and Taiwan try to have different assistance to the countries without the diplomatic relations. Of course, the democratic countries' government need to have policies to have better control about pandemic. I think that is totally different in different countries and also a challenge for the domestic countries. Next. And the lead of the speak, I want to have some information that first, the medical equipment should be as the security of countries. I think all we know, especially some our friends here, understand in the global situations, many the companies actually are outside of your countries because of maybe more easier the human resources, maybe because the regulation of environment, maybe because of some regulation of the labor road. But the medical equipment during pandemic give us the opportunity and give us the very important information is the medical equipment is such a key equipment for the government. So maybe we need to build the different the systems or to build a security systems for country to make sure when next pandemic or we could make sure the face mask and some medical equipment, the safety, especially in here, the face mask or vaccinations is important for every country. Next. And I think to keep safety distance and alert to some countries also important. See the pictures that is Chinese visitor to Japan during 2003 and 3, the SARS epidemic. To 2019, the Chinese visitor to Japan is such huge increasing. But the difficulty is the countries you will have very important economic income come from the single countries. When we facing pandemic, Japan suffer from how to balance the visitor, the trip, the visitor come from China, and to balance their security of pandemic. I think that is such a huge information to every country. The economic income and activities need to balance between different countries and different industry. We couldn't depend on any one industry that is so dangerous when pandemic or another crisis. Next. The final I want to give some information is in Taiwan, we have a law and regulations for the pandemic. We have a Communicable Disease Control Act. So these times, all the quarantine policies or the government control and government policy and government equipment apply or depending on the Communicable Disease Control Act. The act had ever been revised in 2004 after the SARS pandemic in Taiwan. It gives the government have more clear the management policies and have the regulations to make sure that every control or every management depend on the legal law and regulations and not to interfere with our people's security or the private policies. So I think to check the government about the law and regulations for new pandemic management, that would become very key point for us to facing the new challenge in the future of pandemic. I think now many of countries have vaccination for the COVID-19. So maybe the pandemic will subside within 2 or 3 years. But the economic situation, the economic damage maybe will recover in the further 10 years. But all we didn't know what will be happened in another pandemic situations in the future. So how to prepare there and learn much more the management during the pandemic, I think that is huge important for us. Thank you. Is my opinion here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Dr. Lee's sharing. I mean, it's a wonderful speech, and it has been around 2 years for Dr. Lee to participate our government actions and how to connect with the NGOs. And Dr. Lee is also a frequent speaker in media to explain the government's actions and responses. It has been a tremendous job for Dr. Lin to connect the civil society and government policy. So thank you very much again for Legislator Lin's wonderful speech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd like to summarize some of the key points for Dr. Lin's speech about the success for controlling the pandemic. I think would be first one like the transparent informations, and secondly, a full cooperation from the general public, and third would be a strict law regulation, and of course the strong enforcement. And as the last one would be the technology-based pandemic control measures. just like Dr. Lee has just mentioned, about AI import and some digital data collections also play a vital roles for pandemic control. Of course, we are experiencing, the local, pandemic situation in recent week. But I think if we can stick on this for just like Dr. Lin just mentioned, I think we are confident to do this. We can work together and learn from lessons from our neighboring states and our alliance. Okay, once again, I would like to appreciate for Dr. Lin's wonderful speech. And
Thank you.
thank you very much. And then I'd like to proceed to the next session will be a question and answer session. So before we proceed to question and answer, I think you can type your questions on the chat box. And then Dr. Lin will have time to review your questions and think about the answering. So before that period, I think we'll have the last performance video clips. But during the meanwhile, I think please type your questions on the chat box, and then we'll have to give Dr. Lee more time to read it and to prioritize which question you'd like to answer. Okay, so before that, we'll have the last two songs from our performance. The two songs are Taiwanese Fox Songs. It's produced in 1930s, 40s, and represent the spirit of Taiwanese. The first song will be The Red in All Four Seasons, and the second one will be Craving for the Spring Wind. If you have the opportunity to take Eva Airlines to traveling, and you can always hear the background music, that would be the Craving for the Spring Wind. Okay, that's the brief introduction to our songs. Okay, so we will play the songs, and during the meantime, please type your questions. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it's from Wu. Yeah. Can you give some examples of technology application to control COVID-19?
Okay, in Taiwan, actually, most of the people have cell phone. And so lucky that because we locked down our migrants during our airport. So within Taiwan, actually, we have not too much cases local, but we have more and more. We have many people come from another countries. So during the times, every people when they come back from another country to arrive to Taiwan, they need to quarantine for 2 weeks. And during that times, we will have some cell phones informations from them. If the cell phones informations are lost, that the government, the local government, within their locations. During that times, we could find some people that really not obey the regulations to quarantine in the local in their locations. And we have another very special control last year during the New Year's ceremonies. During New Year's ceremonies, actually, everyone in Taiwan, actually, they love to have some communications outside. But have some people, especially young generations, they are still during quarantine situations, but they want to join that. They all go outside for the activities. So also we have the control to find their cell phones informations. If they have the too close distance between with the populations, then the local government will have alert about that and where to find them, make them to go back to the locations of quarantine. Until now, some technologies that last year the most important technology applications is with the face mask, because every people need that before when they go to school or when they go to work. But we do not want people to crowd it in the farmer store. So in Taiwan, we have a health insurance card for everyone. So we install a system in the we say the convenience store, and everyone could use your health insurance card to install in the convenience store. Then you could book your face mask of next week. Then you could get your face mask in convenience store. Why convenience store is that it's much more popular the equipment for every countries, much more than another very important government situations. So it's try to connect with government data and the technology and the local equipment to make people more easier to get their self-protection equipment. I think that is another example in Taiwan. We try to applicate for the control pandemic.
We have other questions from. Oh yeah, Dr. Lee. Which question you would like to answer? You can just give us their name.
But I didn't should to participate.
Priscilla?
I would like to ask how should Physica how to participate in stabilizing the economic condition during pandemic. I think the most important key point is how to control the infection situations. If the crisis of pandemic, I think all the economic participants were decreased. So the first key point is how to control your infection conditions. And second, the government need to alert about different industry or different the economic condition need another support. For example, during the pandemic crisis, the supply supply chains were changing. So how to have the supply chain shorter or more easier to apply to another's people to people's, and some industry were closed, and how to support their employee during the industry close to maintain their daily life until recovery the normal the economic activities. I think that is very important. So to find out different the assistance in the industries, and sometimes we will have the organizations to communicate with government. For example, the taxi drivers in Taiwan. Because the pandemic, so we have very few traveling during, or some people actually they work from home, or so they do not work outside. So during early stage of last year, many of the taxi drivers actually they are facing the difficult situations. During that times, the organizations of taxi they communicate with government and make the government actually find another job for them to transport the visitor come from another country, come from outside of Taiwan, to maintain their job, but also to make the supply work at least no more. So I think to find out different need and to communicate with organizations with different job, I think that is important.
Thank you very much for answering. Okay, then we have one more question from phone, right? Yeah.
Yes, about the supply chains, this is I mentioned earlier that all the government need to identify what is much more important security supplies. For example, the water, the mosque, that is such important to make sure you could provide that, even lock down your migrant, your countries. And another is to make sure that I think I want to point one very important that to maintain your gender equality situations in your country, work could make it important during pandemic, because the gender segregations in many of the countries, and the much more if the severe gender segregations during pandemic will affect some part of different genders, different sexual or different gender populations, and actually that sometimes it could then to keep the balance. So try to balance and try to equality in different gender roles. That is very key important during pandemic.
We have also two economists online. I mean, Dean Chan's also the distinguished economist from Georgia University. So Dean Chan, are you online? Dean Chan? Would you, yeah, Dean Chan, would you like to give us some comments or some such about the question about the COVID-19's impacts to the global supply chain? Would you like to give us some of your comments? Or Deja, are you online? Yeah. I mean, would you like to give us some other comments about the questions? Oh. Okay, yeah, probably some technical problem. Yeah, we have another questions, right? For this Angel. Okay, this one. Yeah.
About the how Taiwan could do to keep the because how we to dealing when we have huge number of people in and out of China. That is why we alert about very early. We alert about the atypical pneumonia in China in late of 2019. So the government has or the system, the management to control that. First is to detect the fever people from China. And second, we have many information announcements to the Taiwanese when they work in China and try to come back to Taiwan. Because during the pandemic, during the early of 2020, that is traditional New Year in Taiwan, and the people work in China will come back from there. So the government have the information to all the populations, so the people understand they have the opportunity or they have a risk. So our first index cases, actually, when she arrived the airport from China, she gave the information to our airport employee that she have fever. Then we detected the first cases of COVID-19. So I think that is important that more clear, more transparency in policy and information to our people, that will make them have more alert about that. Of course, at the same time, during late of January of 2020, we banned all the people come from China. Because we know during that times we have not equipment to protect that. So we ban all the people come from China, and we collect all the visitor from China. And some students come from there to control and to make sure they are not the infected cases. So I think that is why we could do keep lower cases in Taiwan until now, because we have very soon activities during we alert about a typical pneumonia in China.
Okay, I think we'll take the last question from Nat Kwan, right?
Yeah, I think the Quran about the Christians that pandemic is still not really under control in the world. So the economic or recovery department actually is so difficult. I think all we should do is to balance the control the disease and keep the economic not damage the damage too much. So of course, the fourth important is to have vaccinations. I think the vaccinations maybe could have better coverage until early of next year. If the countries have better vaccination coverage, the country will recover the economic activity sooner. But I think, in my viewpoint, the economic recovery and development maybe need 3 to 5 years in the future of this pandemic. I think that is very huge challenge to every country in the world.
This is a very good question. Thank you very much for answering. And I think we also have two, just I say that we also have two economists online. Jialin, 张国际长, yeah. I think probably you can comment on this question about, the question is about that the pandemic is still going on in the world, that there is a tough question for us to how we do focus on the reopen of economy, or we still keep on fighting the pandemic. I think this is a very good question. So, and we have two economists online, just Dr. Helma and Dr. Chang. So, Jialin, would you like to give us some of your insightful comments?
Yeah. Okay, it's nice to share my opinions with all of you. I think the most important is we have to make sure the spillovers of the COVID-19 will not, spillovers, continue to spillovers Otherwise, we know that the economic situation must be influenced by that. So first of all, I think that we have to control ourselves and to understand each other. And of course, the situation will bring us a lot of difficulty. And for the moment, I think we cannot do anything except we keep the social distance and wash our hands, and also be careful ourselves, not going out to keep our safety for everyone. And if the 1 month or 2 months later, if the situation can becomes better, or I think that can be controlled, I think that we think about the economics later. Otherwise, we don't think that we can do everything now. We have to have a patience to wait until we make sure the situation already be controlled, at least in Taiwan. And for the global situation, economic situation, I think we still have other industries still going on. Like we use the online shopping, or we used another way. And what we can do now, I think we can prepare, the future, and then we plan in advance. After the pandemic is finished, and then we have to make sure that we can do something more. And meanwhile, I think the economics or lifestyle will change dramatically, like our teaching, education, and the way we living. So I think it's a good time to try to force ourselves to adapt to the new, environment, and to try to see if we can use the different lifestyles to survive for the future, or for using more technology to communicate with the people, with the people in the world. So I think we have to wait, and have a patience. Yeah.
Much for being Charles. That will comment. And last, I think Dr. Helma, would you like to share your experience or your observation about? I have questions about lockdown policy. Do you think that's quite an effective way, because that would have a huge impact to the economy? So would you like to share your views? Thank you.
Thank you, Dinwoo. Well, actually, compared to Taiwan, we have been facing what happened to Taiwan right now, like a year ago. So the result of the chaos that happened to us a year ago is that we have to adapt. Since last year, the lesson that we can take in Indonesia as a nation that after that we cannot live under this situation anymore, since the lockdown has been taking so many risks in terms of economy. So many people have been fired from their jobs, and then we have lost a lot of opportunity in terms of economy as well. So that is why, like Dr. Lin said previously, the key is always to adjust to the new normal situation. For us, we are using the term of new normal. It's not like we are saying we have another new normal. That new normal in our cases, meaning we have to conduct our normal activities, such as conducting economic activity under the social distancing and then health protocol. In the hope that eventually we can reach normal activities soon, the only way to recover is to fixing the disease itself, which means if the COVID-19, at least we have to reach the herd immunity. If we cannot reach that condition, we cannot have normal economic activity. So the key always will be curing the COVID-19 first. So in Indonesia part, it will be our last hope is vaccination to achieve the herd immunity. In the case of economic, we have experienced a very severe crisis. Like last year, I think Indonesia have reaching the economic crisis, but thankfully government initiating the new normal activity, of course, still under the health protocol. So at least we don't fall quite deep into the economic crisis. So that is the case in Indonesia part.
Thank you very much for Dr. Helmut's sharing. So Dr. Tree, can you hear me? Dr. Tree? Yeah, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear you now. I'm so sorry that I think that the connection at our ends, I mean the Wi-Fi network here, it's not. Now I had to use the 3G. So
No problem.
can you hear me? Yeah, okay, that's good.
Yeah, I think thank you very much for your participation. I think it is about time. So I would like to invite Dean Tree, for a long-standing friend, to give us some feedback or any conclusion remarks for us. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dingu. Yeah, very, very interesting discussion. Even though I cannot see you, I can still hear the, sometime on YouTube and sometimes on the stream jar. And that's very interesting. I think the condition in Vietnam is quite similar in Taiwan. At first, we control very well the pandemic, and I think just about 1-2 weeks ago, it's the outbreak is spread again, and just this morning we got the directive from the government that we close on the class. That's why I think that one of the class that we usually have 70 students to join us at the group, that we had to spread it out, and the student had to go to join individuals for this academy, so the government, I think that they have to always consider the balance between the how to maintain the economics, the regular activities, and also at the same time to prevent the spreading of the virus. So there are different situations in the north and the south. In Hanoi, I think that now the it's become very rampant. The government in Hanoi, in the province, the north, have to take many strong measure to to cope with the situation. But here in Ho Chi Minh City, still the government still let the economic activities happen as what we call it new normal condition. But I'm afraid that maybe in next 1-2 days there will be different. There will be some. Is the government always? I think that in Vietnam and other countries we have a different. At the very beginning, I also mentioned that we have a different political system where we have the government we have a strong government here, and everything is conducted at the very what I call is very strong top-down government. So everything. And I think that to cope with the pandemic like this, some of the government policies are very effective, and that's what I can share with you.
I think Dr. Lin has emerging matters to take care, so she will be outlined. But once again, I would appreciate for her wonderful speech and sharing. Okay, I think it's about time, and I know it's it's a little bit sad for me. I mean, just the end of this lecture series. But I wish that after this event, I fully appreciate for your support from the Nona University, Tanjung Bolan National Chongqing University, and the Bicol University from Philippines. But I hope that would be it could be a sustainable forum for this Asia Virtual Academy. So after this event, I think we can coordinate another net meeting from our partner institutions, and we can talk about our maybe next event. Okay, yeah. Hi, Professor Barnes. Yeah, thank you for coming back. Yeah.
Internet connection is very bad here. I'm very sorry. I could
No
only
problem,
hear
no problem.
you, and sometimes you were out. So
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I just saying that because this is the wrap up of the whole lecture series, but hopefully that we can initiate another event that it could be more coordinating our teaching resources among our partner institutions. So once again, I appreciate for your full and warm support, especially during these difficult times. And I wish that we can initiate another meaningful event for all of our students. So once again, thank you very much. And I hope to see you in the near future and all the participants online. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dinu.
Okay, 谢谢。
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.